Most people don't hate budgeting. They hate what budgeting makes them feel. You sit down at the kitchen table on a Sunday night. Your bank app is open, maybe a spreadsheet, maybe a budgeting app you downloaded with good intentions. You tell yourself this time will be different. This time you'll finally be disciplined. And for a week, maybe two, you are. Then something shifts. Groceries cost more than you expected. You order takeout after a long day. A friend invites you out and you don't want to say no. Suddenly, the numbers don't line up. Instead of adjusting, you feel guilty. That guilt turns into avoidance. And the budget quietly dies. Here's what no one really says out loud. Budgeting doesn't usually fail because you're bad with money. It fails because most budgets are built for robots, not humans. We're taught that budgeting is simple math. Income minus expenses equals clarity. If the numbers don't work, cut something. If you overspend, try harder. Be more disciplined. But money isn't just math. It's emotion. It's stress. It's identity. It's comfort after a hard day. It's how you reward yourself when work feels overwhelming. It's how you show up socially. Sometimes it's how you cope. Traditional budgeting ignores all of that. It assumes you wake up every day as the same logical version of yourself. The calm version. The future-focused version. The one who never impulse buys when tired. That's not real life. Some days you're motivated. Other days you're drained. Some weeks work feels stable. Other weeks you're anxious about layoffs. Sometimes you want to save. Sometimes you just want relief. When a budget doesn't account for emotional swings, it eventually breaks. Think about how most budgets are structured. You assign every dollar a job, you categorize everything, you set strict limits. Groceries, $400, eating out, $100. Entertainment, $50. It looks controlled. But what happens when prices go up? When your car needs repairs? When you're exhausted and cooking feels impossible? Now the budget isn't a guide. It feels like a judge. And once you feel judged, you start hiding from it. There's a psychological concept called ego depletion. The idea is that self-control isn't infinite. Every decision, every stressor, every time you say no uses mental energy. By 8 p.m., after work, traffic, emails, and responsibilities, your willpower is lower than it was at 8 a.m. Most budgets rely almost entirely on willpower. They don't build in flexibility. They don't assume you'll have hard days, so when you overspend, it feels like failure. And when something feels like failure, most people quit. It's not because they don't care about their future, it's because shame is exhausting. Another reason budgeting fails is that it focuses almost entirely on restriction. Cut this, reduce that, stop spending here. But rarely does it ask a more important question. What are you trying to build? If your only relationship with money is, what can I not spend? It starts to feel suffocating, especially if you're already working hard. Imagine someone working 40 or 50 hours a week, trying to stay afloat with rent, groceries, maybe student loans, and now their budget says they can't enjoy small things either. There's no vision, just limits. That's draining. Humans respond more strongly to progress than restriction. When you see something growing, savings, investments, even a small buffer, you feel momentum. When all you feel is cutting back, you feel stuck. And most adults were never taught how to manage money emotionally. We learned percentages in school, maybe how compound interest works in theory, but nobody explained how stress influences spending, or how comparison drives lifestyle inflation, or how growing up around instability can make saving feel uncomfortable. So people create a budget, break it, and assume the problem is character. In reality, the problem is design. A system that doesn't account for human behavior will eventually collapse under human behavior. The turning point comes when you realize budgeting isn't about controlling yourself. It's about designing around yourself. Instead of asking, how do I force myself to stick to this? You ask, how do I build a system that works even when I'm tired? That might mean simplifying categories. Instead of 10 detailed lines, maybe you just have essentials, future, and lifestyle. It might mean automating savings so it happens before you even see the money. Not because you're irresponsible, but because you're realistic. It might mean intentionally budgeting for joy. If you know you value eating out with friends, pretending you'll only spend $20 a month probably isn't honest. But giving yourself a reasonable amount removes the guilt spiral. You're not failing, you're following the plan. There's also power in shifting toward margin. Margin is breathing room. Instead of allocating every dollar, you allow space, a buffer in checking, an emergency fund slowly growing in the background. That buffer changes your nervous system. When you know one unexpected expense won't collapse everything, your decisions become calmer, and calm decisions are usually better decisions. Even a small emergency fund can prevent high-interest debt from snowballing. Avoiding a credit card balance at 20% interest often does more for stability than perfectly tracking coffee purchases. But emotionally, it reduces fear. When fear decreases, impulsive decisions decrease too. Another shift is redefining success. Budgeting success doesn't mean never going over. It might mean noticing you overspent, adjusting next month, and moving on without shame. It might mean increasing your savings rate from 5% to 8% over a year. Quiet progress, steady. It might mean understanding your patterns instead of fighting them. If you overspend when stressed, the solution isn't yelling at yourself. It's building a stress plan that isn't expensive. Maybe that's free activities. Maybe it's setting aside a small bad day fund so relief doesn't derail your goals. That's not weakness, that's awareness. If you're wondering what to do next, start small. Instead of rebuilding everything overnight, look at one area that consistently causes friction. Is it groceries, eating out, subscriptions? Ask yourself why. Not just how much, but why. Are you too tired to cook? Seeking convenience? Trying to feel connected? Once you understand the why, the numbers get easier to manage. Then build one layer of protection. Maybe it's automating a small transfer to savings every payday. Maybe it's keeping a buffer in your checking account and refusing to dip below it unless necessary. These aren't extreme strategies. They're stabilizing ones. Over time, that stability compounds, financially and emotionally. And here's something important. Your first budget probably won't work. That's not proof you're bad with money. It's proof you're learning yourself. The real reason budgeting fails for most adults isn't laziness. It's that traditional budgeting treats money like a spreadsheet problem when it's actually a behavior problem. Behavior is shaped by stress, habits, environment, and emotion. When you design around that reality, budgeting stops feeling like punishment. It starts feeling like protection. Protection of your time, protection of your peace, protection of your future self. Life will bend you. There will be unexpected expenses and emotional weeks. That doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're human. Progress with money is usually quiet. It's the slow build of savings, the slightly lower anxiety before payday, the growing confidence that you can handle what comes next. If your budget has failed before, maybe it wasn't a sign to try harder. Maybe it was a sign to try differently. You don't need perfection, you need sustainability. And sustainability comes from systems that respect your humanity. Start there. Then let progress, not pressure, guide the rest.